Welcome back to Absolute Idaho. Let's continue with the stool. I finalized those bases up. That's them. Now I'm to the next step of actually putting a footrest on there. And I've come up with the idea of, well, you see this is the old wheel. Well, I have some of that material left over because I cut the back side of the wheel off, so I have like the half rounds or whatever that are left over. And my idea is I already cut a few of them, but I'm basically going to cut this. I'll show you what I've been cutting it out of. So this is actually a portion of that half wheel. There's a section I'm cutting out that matches this one, inverted obviously. It's got one more to cut, and I'm going to actually, you can see my chalk mark on there. I'm going to cut that so it kind of has that round edge to it, and I actually want to put, if you look at this right here, that'll be on this side, and the one will be on the other side, but it'll be about that angle. And I'm going to make it so it pivots just a little bit, just for a footrest when you're sitting on the stool. I think it needs it for shorter guys. Taller guys might not use it, but at least it's an option, and it's always a good place to rest your feet. Everybody likes to do that. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to get all 4 of those cut out, and the S is cut and cleaned up, and then I'll reconvene when I'm actually starting to punch a hole through the posts and weld them up. I got those parts cut out of that piece I showed you. I used my plasma cutter to actually cut, the S shape, and then I just kind of cleaned it up with the flap disc on both sides. So there's a total of 8 of them, but it's the underside of a wheel. And what my plan is, like I said, and I got these being held in place with magnets right now, but is to do something like that. And what I'm going to do is have, I was going to actually have them pivot, but I've changed my mind. I'm just going to actually have a bar that goes across through the tube, welded on both sides, welded to the underneath of this, and it'll just be a stationary footrest, because it's kind of round already, and I think people can just kind of, find a comfortable spot. I could do that whole cool thing and make them move and all that, but boy, the time involved, and I actually looked at it, the time involved in it is pretty heavy, and I just don't want to deal with it, so I got to get these installed. So this is the bar I'm going to use. It's 3/4 inch cold rolled. I'm just going to weld that to the bottom. This will go through the tube, and I'll show you the mag drill process, and go through the bottom and weld them up, and they'll be stationary and pretty strong. So I'm set up with the mag drill on the upright tube where I want it, and I'm going to turn it on and drill all the way through with this 2-inch bit. It'll be 2 plugs. Be kind of noisy. All the way through both sides. Here's the one side of the footrest. It's been welded on from the back, just on one side. And then I take that, and after I've drilled my hole and pounded it through, so now it's just free spinning at this point, but it's there. And then I'll take the other one, weld it on the back side while it's still free spinning, get it situated left and right, pin it back, spin it back up, and then I'm actually going to weld right here and right there to stop it from spinning at the appropriate angle. I just tried it out. It's actually pretty darn comfortable, so I'm happy with it. And I got the holes in obviously all the other ones. tight fit. So I got set up to, finish welding the other side on. Made this little elevation clamp, I guess is the word. I'm going to clamp this on here. And I can take this, make sure it touches the same point that one is. It'll be pretty close. It's going to be a little bit off, but it's pretty close. And then I'm going to tack weld. Just looking at it, it looks pretty close. Clean it up. You hit that with the wire brush. Got to make sure these are equal distance apart. There we are. And I already measured, so I know where I want it, so I'm basically going to use this to kind of gauge where I actually want them. Like that. I'm at the point now where I need to start doing some of the wood seat portion. I'm just doing simple ones. It's made out of hickory, and I got to gouge out the bottom of them. I'm not a woodworker, can you tell? I've got to kind of hog them out a little bit, and I'm not particularly a great woodworker, nor do I love it, but it still needs to be done, and people do like it together, wood and steel. So this is what I got to do. This is actually the bottom of the chair I kind of have done. So I actually kind of cut this down 1.25 inches, kind of hogged it out so that this rotating mounting plate actually can recede in there, or recess in there, and it doesn't add extra height to the chair, because otherwise the chair is just a little too tall. So I'm going to do that, and before I do that, I'm also going to round off all the corners that are pertinent so that people don't get their hands caught on them or whatever. And to do that, I'm actually going to use my homemade routing table. It was supposed to be a temporary thing that I put in here, and I mounted my I actually mounted my router underneath the table itself, right there. And it was supposed to be a temporary thing for a job I did. That was 2 years ago, so I guess it's not temporary, but it works pretty good. And so basically, I've got these two routed here. I routed over the corners. Beautiful wood, isn't it? I mean, I'm not even a woodworker, but I do appreciate that wood. That's pretty awesome. So I've rounded over the bottom of this, bottom, and this is the front of it, so it's rounded over. This is going to have angle iron on it, so it doesn't technically need to be rounded over, nor should it be, because it'll create a gap. And this will have angle iron in the back also, just like this one. So angle iron, angle iron, angle iron, and that's where we're going. So I'm going to finish routing this last piece, and then I'm going to take it over to the table saw and kind of cut out that bottom section like I showed you. So that's the bottom, it's all rounded over. Hey, look, you can see a deer. There's the neck, horn, gigantic eyeball, snout, mouth. Hey, I'm an artist, what do you expect? I see it in everything. But anyway, this one's actually done. I got the other ones done, so now I can actually cut out that relief, that little bottom section there, and go from there. So I'm over at the table saw, got my dado blade in. It's not a hog out, it's a dado. And I got it set at its maximum width cut, which is like 13/16. And I'm actually cutting out, gosh, what am I cutting out? 1 1/4 at one time in hickory. It's doing a pretty good job though. I have a backstop set up right here. So I just push this, actually through, and it goes and it cuts underneath and then stops here, and that gives you my depth of cut, which kind of looks like that. So this is where it stops when it hits those blocks, and that'll be all the way across, and I'm basically just dadoing out that whole section, and that's where that plate will mount underneath. And I'm going to do that, times 3 more. So here's one of the finished bottoms. I dadoed out this bottom section. It was about 1 1/4 hog out of the bottom. It just kind of comes to a nice flush where the blade is rounded over right there, and I had that stop block in. Now I'm just going to palm sand the bottom of this, so it's got a nice, it's a little rough. Palm sand the bottom of this so it's got a good place for that plate to mount to from the chair stool. And I'll just hit all the edges, top and bottom, just as a final little sand, and that's about all the woodwork I'm going to do.